Life is full of uncertainties. Every day brings its own challenges, and sometimes the weight of it all feels unbearable. We plan, we strive, we do our best, yet there are moments when things don't go the way we hope. In these moments, we often feel frustrated, helpless, or even defeated. But today, I want to share a timeless truth. There is incredible freedom and peace when we learn to leave everything in the hands of the one greater than us. Imagine for a moment holding a heavy object. The longer you hold it, the heavier it feels, right? That's what carrying life's burdens feels like. The weight of worry, fear, and doubt can drain us, leaving no room for joy, peace, or progress. But here's the good news. We were never meant to carry these burdens alone. There's a greater force at work, one that sees what we cannot see, understands what we cannot comprehend, and orchestrates life in ways far beyond our understanding. When we choose to trust this power, something remarkable happens. First, we experience peace, a peace that doesn't come from having all the answers, but from knowing we don't have to figure it all out on our own. Trust means releasing control. It means saying, I don't know how this will work out, but I believe that it will. Life often reminds us of our limitations. Despite our best efforts, there are moments when things don't go as planned. We work hard, make detailed plans, and even anticipate obstacles, but sometimes it feels like we've hit a wall we can't climb. These moments can be frustrating and overwhelming, leading us to question our capabilities and decisions. However, what if these very moments are invitations to recognize a deeper truth that we were never meant to handle everything on our own? Acknowledging our limitations is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it's a profound act of wisdom and strength. It takes humility to admit that we don't have all the answers, that we can't predict every outcome, and that some aspects of life are simply beyond our control. This realization, though humbling, is the first step toward freedom. It shifts our perspective from striving to surrender, from anxiety to trust. When we try to control everything, we carry a burden we were never designed to bear. The weight of worry, the stress of outcomes, and the pressure of constant decision-making can drain us emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Yet, when we acknowledge our limitations, we begin to see the beauty of letting go. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means understanding that there is a greater force at work, one that sees the bigger picture when all we can see are the pieces. Acknowledging our limitations also invites us to trust in this higher power. It's not about abandoning responsibility, it's about partnering with the divine. We still have a role to play, but it's a role of cooperation rather than control. For instance, think of a farmer planting seeds. The farmer does the work of preparing the soil, planting and watering, but the growth of the seed is beyond their control. They trust that nature, guided by a higher design, will do its part. Similarly, in our lives, we do what we can, but we must leave the results in the hands of the divine. This act of trust allows us to shift our focus. Instead of obsessing over what we can't control, we can pour our energy into what we can. We can show up with integrity, do our best, and leave the rest. This doesn't mean we won't face challenges or that life will always be smooth, but it does mean that we don't have to face it all alone. There is peace in knowing that when we reach the end of our strength, there is a power greater than us that takes over. Acknowledging our limitations also opens the door to patience. When we stop trying to force solutions, we create space for answers to come in their own time. Trusting in divine timing helps us to wait with hope rather than frustration. It reminds us that delays are not denials. They are often preparations for something greater. Just as a seed takes time to grow, our journeys require patience to fully unfold. Life is not a race to see how much we can control or accomplish. It's a journey of learning, growing, and trusting. When we accept our limitations, we give ourselves permission to rest in the assurance that we don't have to figure everything out. We are not failures because we can't control it all. We are human, and that's perfectly okay. Ultimately, leaving everything in the hands of the divine begins with acknowledging that we don't have all the answers, and we don't need to. Life was never meant to be a solo effort. By embracing this truth, we step into a life of greater peace, trust, and purpose. It's not about giving up, it's about letting go and watching how things fall into place in ways we never imagined. Let go, trust, and know that you are never alone. Trusting a divine plan requires us to take a step back from the chaos of life and view things from a different perspective. It's not always easy, especially when we're in the middle of a storm and can't see the path ahead. Yet the very essence of trust lies in believing that there is a purpose behind every twist and turn, even when we don't fully understand it. Trusting in this greater plan allows us to navigate life with a sense of peace, knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as should. When life seems to veer off course, our first instinct is often to wrestle it back under control. We try to figure out every detail, resolve every conflict, and make sense of every setback. But what if those detours are not random? What if they're part of a much larger picture that's still being painted? Trusting the process means releasing the need to have all the answers and instead believing that the pieces will eventually come together. It's about recognizing that while our perspective is limited, the divine perspective is infinite, weaving together threads of purpose that we may not yet see. Often, it's only in hindsight that we understand why certain things happened the way they did. The relationship that ended, the job opportunity that fell through, or the plans that didn't materialize may have seemed devastating at the time. But later we begin to see how those moments led to growth, new opportunities, or a better path than the one we originally imagined. This is the beauty of a divine plan. It is always working for our good, even when we don't realize it in the moment. Trusting in something greater than ourselves also requires patience, and patience is a virtue that many of us struggle with. We live in a world of instant gratification where waiting feels like wasted time, but the divine plan operates on a different timeline, one that is often slower than we'd like, but always perfect in its unfolding. When we trust this process, we begin to understand that delays are not denials. They are often times of preparation, moments where we are being shaped and refined for something greater than we currently envision. This trust also brings an incredible sense of freedom. When we place our faith in a higher plan, we free ourselves from the constant need to control outcomes. We learn to focus on the journey rather than the destination, understanding that every step has a purpose. It doesn't mean life will be without challenges, but it does mean that we face those challenges with a sense of assurance. We stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? Trust doesn't eliminate fear or doubt entirely, but it gives us the courage to move forward despite them. It reminds us that we are not alone and that we are being guided by a wisdom far greater than our own. This guidance often comes in subtle ways: a chance encounter, a gentle nudge, or an inner knowing that reassures us we are on the right path. The more we trust, the more attuned we become to these signs and the more confident we grow in following them. Perhaps one of the greatest benefits of trusting a divine plan is the peace it brings. Life will always have its uncertainties. But when we believe that there is a purpose behind it all, those uncertainties lose their power to destabilize us. We stop striving for perfection or fearing failure, knowing that even our mistakes can be used for good. This peace allows us to live fully in the present, appreciating the beauty of each moment without being consumed by anxiety about the future. As we continue to trust, we realize that the divine plan is not just about what happens to us, it's about what happens through us. Every experience, whether joyful or painful, is an opportunity for growth and transformation. It's a chance to become the person we are meant to be and to contribute to a story much larger than our own. So when life feels uncertain, remember that there is a greater plan at work. Trust that every challenge, delay, and unexpected turn is part of something beautiful unfolding. Place your confidence in the hands of the divine and watch as your life begins to align in ways you never imagined. Everything will work out, not necessarily the way you expect, but in the way that is best for you. Worry is one of the most common emotions we experience as humans. It's easy to get caught in a cycle of overthinking, playing out every possible scenario, and imagining the worst outcomes. We worry about our health, our families, our finances, and our futures. But what if we realize that worry does nothing but drain our energy, increase our stress, and make us feel powerless? The truth is, worry is a burden that we were never meant to carry, and when we surrender it, we make room for peace. At the heart of worry is a fear of the unknown. We fear what we can't control. And this fear manifests as anxiety. But when we leave everything in the hands of a higher power, we release that fear. We begin to trust that the unknown is not a threat, but a space where possibilities can unfold in ways we couldn't have imagined. Instead of carrying the weight of worry, we carry the lightness of trust, knowing that whatever happens, we are not alone in facing it. Worry often convinces us that we are alone in our struggles, that we have to figure everything out by ourselves. It isolates us, making us feel like we are the sole architects of our destiny. But when we let go of worry and place our concerns in the hands of something greater, we invite divine assistance into our lives. This doesn't mean we stop taking action or making decisions, but it means that we don't have to bear the emotional weight of the outcome. Releasing worry opens up space for clarity and focus. When we are consumed by anxiety, it becomes difficult to think clearly or act wisely. We're too caught up in potential problems to notice the solutions that are already around us. But when we stop worrying, our minds clear and we can think with greater perspective. We begin to see opportunities where we once saw obstacles. We approach challenges with calmness, knowing that even if things don't go according to plan, we'll be okay. One of the most profound aspects of letting go of worry is that it allows us to live in the present moment. Worry pulls us out of the here and now and drags us into the future, often the future that doesn't even exist yet. We worry about what might happen, but we rob ourselves of the richness of what is happening right now. When we release our worries, we step into the present, fully engaged with what is happening in our lives at this very moment. We enjoy the small victories, appreciate the simple joys, and connect with others more deeply. Furthermore, letting go of worry invites gratitude into our hearts. When we focus on what we don't have or what might go wrong, we forget to notice all the things that are going right. By releasing worry, we open our eyes to the blessings that surround us around. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to anxiety. It shifts our focus from what's lacking to what is abundant, transforming our perspective on life. Releasing worry also restores our sense of control, but in a healthy, balanced way. It's important to understand that letting go of worry doesn't mean we give up responsibility or stop caring about the outcomes of our lives. It means we shift our approach. Instead of obsessing over every detail and trying to predict every possible scenario, we focus on doing our best in the present moment. We trust that the rest will unfold as it should, knowing that some things are simply beyond our control. The more we practice surrendering our worries, the more we experience the freedom of trusting in a higher power. This trust brings a deep sense of peace that transcends our circumstances. It's a peace that doesn't depend on everything going according to our plans, but a peace that rests in the belief that everything is happening for a reason, even if that reason isn't immediately clear. Worry, when left unchecked, becomes a burden that grows heavier the more we carry it. It affects our mental, emotional, and physical health, making us tense, anxious, and exhausted. But when we choose to release it, we step into a space of calm, clarity, and confidence. The future no longer seems like an unpredictable threat, but an unfolding story that we are a part of and that we can trust to unfold according to a greater plan. So, if you find yourself caught in the grip of worry, remember that you don't have to carry that burden alone. Let go of the need to control every outcome. Release the fear of the unknown and trust that the divine is working behind the scenes. When you do, you'll find a peace that surpasses understanding, a peace that empowers you to move forward with grace, hope, and confidence. Leave your worries behind and embrace the freedom that comes with trusting the path before you. When we talk about leaving everything in the hands of the divine, it's essential to recognize that this does not mean abandoning responsibility. On the contrary, it encourages us to focus on what we can control and trust that everything else will fall into place. There's a unique power in doing our part while acknowledging that the outcome is beyond our reach. Focusing on what we can control gives us clarity, direction, and the energy to move forward without feeling overwhelmed by the things we cannot change. We all have a natural tendency to want to fix everything, to control every situation, and to micromanage outcomes. This can lead to burnout, frustration, and a sense of helplessness when things don't turn out as planned. But when we shift our focus to what we can actually control, our actions, our thoughts, our responses, we regain a sense of agency. It's about realizing that while we cannot dictate every circumstance, we always have the power to choose how we respond. Take a moment to think about your daily life. We often get caught up in worrying about things that are entirely outside our control, what others think of us, the behavior of people around us, or the uncertainty of the future. But what can we control in these situations? We can control how we treat others, the effort we put into our work, the attitude we choose to carry, and the way we engage with the world. By focusing on these aspects, we stop wasting energy on things that serve no purpose, and we begin to channel our strength into areas where we can make a difference. The power of focusing on what we can control lies in its ability to bring us peace. We often feel most anxious when we try to control things that are beyond our grasp. But when we let go of the need to control everything, we find freedom in the realization that the outcome does not define our worth. We can trust that our efforts are enough and that the rest will unfold as it should. This doesn't mean we become passive or indifferent. It means we approach life with the confidence that we are doing our part and trusting the rest to a higher power. For example, think about a person facing a difficult challenge. It could be a career setback, a relationship struggle, or a personal obstacle. It's natural to want to fix everything immediately, but sometimes the best course of action is to focus on the things we can influence. We can focus on our growth, on learning new skills, on maintaining a positive attitude, and on taking small, meaningful steps toward a solution. In doing so, we shift the narrative from one of helplessness to one of empowerment. We are no longer consumed by what we cannot control, but are fully present in the areas where we can make progress. This shift in focus also allows us to experience growth. When we focus on the things within our control, we are more likely to succeed in areas that matter. We become more resilient, more adaptable, and more capable of facing life's challenges with confidence. Each small victory, each step forward reinforces our belief in our abilities. Instead of being overwhelmed by all the what-ifs and could-have-beens, we learn to embrace the present and build on it piece by piece. This approach also fosters a sense of balance. Life is not meant to be lived in a constant state of stress or urgency. When we focus on the things we can control, we create space for rest and peace. We no longer need to chase every fleeting goal or fret over every obstacle. Instead, we cultivate a sense of calm that allows us to handle challenges with grace and clarity. It's also important to recognize that focusing on what we can control doesn't mean ignoring our dreams or desires. It's not about resigning ourselves to a passive life of indifference. Instead, it's about working diligently toward our goals while surrendering the outcomes. We give our best, knowing that the results are in the hands of something greater. This is where trust comes into play. Trust that we are being guided, that we are being shaped, and that every step we take is part of the larger journey. By focusing on what we can control, we also build confidence. We become more comfortable with uncertainty because we trust that we are equipped to handle whatever comes our way. This confidence doesn't stem from a belief in our perfection, but in our ability to rise, to learn, and to keep moving forward no matter the circumstances. In the end, life is about balance. We take action, but we also learn to trust the process and the outcome. By focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we can't, we free ourselves from the weight of unnecessary stress and open ourselves up to the flow of life. We no longer feel paralyzed by uncertainty, but empowered by the knowledge that we are doing our part. And in doing so, we make room for divine guidance to lead us to the places we were always meant to go. Patience is a virtue, but it's one that can often feel elusive, especially in a world that thrives on speed and instant gratification. We live in a society where everything seems to be about quick results, fast food, instant messaging, rapid solutions to complex problems. In such an environment, waiting can feel like a waste of time. However, when we leave everything in the hands of the divine, we learn that patience is not just about waiting, it's about trusting the timing of the process and understanding that some things simply cannot be rushed. When we choose to trust in a higher plan, we surrender our need for immediate answers and outcomes. We stop trying to force things to happen in our time, and instead we learn to wait with hope, knowing that everything will unfold as it should. This doesn't mean that we passively sit back and do nothing. It means that we continue to live fully, do our part, and act with purpose, but we release our anxiety about the when and the how. Patience in this context is not about inaction, but about trusting that what is meant for us will come at the perfect time. Learning patience requires us to let go of control. In many areas of life, we want to rush the process, whether it's a career relationship or personal growth. But often we can't skip ahead to the next chapter without first experiencing the lessons of the current one. Every step, every stage is necessary for our development. What seems like a delay may actually be a time of preparation, growth, or healing. Just as a seed takes time to grow into a tree, so too does our life unfold in its own time, with each stage contributing to the next. Patience also helps us embrace uncertainty. Life is full of unknowns, and it's easy to get frustrated when things don't go according to plan. We may feel like we're running out of time or that we're missing opportunities. But when we trust in divine timing, we realize that our journey is not a race. We may not always know what's ahead, but we trust that what we need will be provided at the right moment. This doesn't mean we stop working toward our goals, but rather that we stop obsessing over the speed of our progress. We trust that we are exactly where we need to be, even if we don't fully understand why. In learning patience, we also learn to appreciate the process rather than just the destination. It's easy to get fixated on the end result, whether it's a goal achieved, a dream fulfilled, or a problem solved. But when we let go of our impatience, we begin to find meaning in the journey itself. Every step is part of the story, every challenge is a lesson, and every delay is an opportunity to grow in ways we didn't expect. We start to see the beauty in the small moments, the lessons learned along the way, the connections made, and the inner strength developed. Life becomes richer when we allow ourselves to savor the process rather than rush through it. Patience also fosters resilience. When we're patient, we develop the ability to withstand challenges without giving up. We understand that setbacks are part of the process, and we stop seeing them as failures. Instead, we view them as stepping stones, as temporary detours that are leading us towards something better. Patience strengthens our resolve, helping us to keep going when things get tough. It gives us the ability to weather life's storms with grace, knowing that every storm eventually passes and the sun will shine again. This ability to wait with patience is often rooted in faith. Faith is not just belief. It is the trust that things are happening for a reason, even when we can't see it. It's the understanding that the universe or divine guidance is always working in our favor. When we have faith in divine timing, we learn to rest in the assurance that everything is happening as it should. We no longer feel the need to push or force things to happen. Instead, we learn to flow with life, knowing that what's meant for us will come at the perfect time. In relationships, patience is key to building strong, lasting connections. Whether it's with family, friends, or a romantic partner, patience allows us to understand and appreciate others without rushing to judgment or expecting immediate results. Relationships take time to grow, and each person's journey is unique. When we trust in the process and allow things to unfold naturally, we create space for deeper connections, stronger bonds, and more meaningful experiences. The challenge of patience is often most evident when we are facing uncertainty or adversity. It's easy to feel discouraged when things don't happen as quickly as we'd like. But when we learn to embrace divine timing, we understand that even our struggles have purpose. They are shaping us, preparing us for what is to come, and leading us toward growth we may not yet recognize. In those moments, patience becomes not just a virtue, but a lifeline, guiding us through the darkness with the promise that we will emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Ultimately, patience is an act of trust. It's trusting that everything is unfolding as it should, that we are not forgotten, and that the universe is working on our behalf. It's about accepting that the path to our goals may take longer than we expect, but that the journey is just as valuable as the destination. With patience, we find peace in the waiting and strength in the waiting, knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. When we place our trust in a divine plan, we are not only surrendering control over the outcome, but also embracing the journey of self-transformation. Every experience, every challenge, and every moment in our lives is shaping us in ways that we might not immediately understand. The process of growth is often uncomfortable, but it is through these moments that we discover who we truly are, what we're capable of, and what is truly important to us. When we let go and trust in the unfolding of our lives, we open ourselves up to becoming the best version of ourselves. At the heart of personal transformation is the willingness to let go of who we think we are supposed to be and embrace the person we are becoming. So often we get caught in the trap of living up to expectations, whether our own or those imposed by others. We try to fit into molds that we don't belong in, and we strive for ideals that don't align with our true nature. But when we trust in divine timing and surrender to a greater plan, we begin to shed these false identities. We stop trying to force ourselves into preconceived roles and instead allow ourselves to grow into the individuals we are meant to be. Transformation also means that we embrace change even when it is difficult or painful. Growth is rarely comfortable, and it often comes with challenges that push us to our limits. It might be the end of a relationship, the loss of a job, or the need to let go of old habits or beliefs. But each of these challenges is an opportunity for transformation. When we face difficulties, we have a choice. We can either resist change and hold on to what we know, or we can lean into it, trust the process, and allow it to shape us into something better. Through this process, we learn to trust in our own resilience. Personal transformation isn't about avoiding challenges, it's about learning how to navigate them with strength and grace. When we trust that we are capable of overcoming anything that comes our way, we begin to view obstacles as opportunities for growth. Every setback, every disappointment, and every detour becomes a chance to build resilience and deepen our character. We no longer see ourselves as victims of circumstance, but as active participants in our own evolution. As we grow, we also begin to shift our perspective on life. We stop seeing everything through the lens of immediate gratification and start recognizing the deeper lessons behind every experience. We understand that our life is a journey, not a destination, and that every step along the way contributes to who we are becoming. Each moment, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, is part of a larger divine plan that is unfolding just as it should. By trusting in this process, we allow ourselves to step outside of the need to constantly achieve or prove ourselves and instead embrace the quiet, steady growth that happens when we simply allow life to unfold. This transformation is not just internal, it also begins to impact our relationships with others. As we grow and evolve, we become more compassionate, more empathetic, and more attuned to the needs of those around us. We no longer view people through a lens of judgment or expectation, but with understanding and love. We recognize that everyone is on their own unique journey, and we learn to offer support and encouragement instead of criticism. By trusting in our own transformation, we naturally inspire others to do the same. We create a ripple effect of growth, positivity, and love that extends beyond ourselves and touches the lives of those around us. One of the most powerful aspects of personal transformation is the realization that we are not limited by our past. So often we define ourselves by our mistakes, regrets, and failures. We carry the weight of our past experiences with us, allowing them to shape our present and limit our future. But when we trust in the divine plan, we begin to understand that our past does not define us, it refines us. Every struggle, every challenge, and every mistake is a lesson that has led us to where we are today. And when we let go of the need to carry the past, we open ourselves up to the infinite possibilities of the future. Transformation also means that we begin to live more authentically. When we let go of the fear of judgment or rejection, we are free to be ourselves. We stop pretending to be someone we're not in order to fit in or gain approval. Instead, we embrace our unique gifts, quirks, and talents, and we share them with the world. We understand that our true worth lies not in what we do or what others think of us, but in who we are at our core. This authenticity allows us to build deeper, more meaningful connections with others because we are no longer hiding behind a mask. We show up as our true selves, and in doing so, we encourage others to do the same. Personal transformation is an ongoing process. It's not something that happens overnight, and it's not always linear. There will be moments of progress, moments of setbacks, and moments of doubt. But as we continue to trust in the divine plan, we learn that every part of the process is necessary for our growth. We begin to trust the timing of our lives, knowing that everything is unfolding as it should. We don't have to force it, and we don't have to rush it. We simply have to trust. In the end, the greatest gift of trusting in a divine plan is the transformation it brings. As we release control and surrender to the process, we discover new dimensions of ourselves that we never knew existed. We become stronger, wiser, and more in tune with our true purpose. And in doing so, we become a living testament to the power of trust, patience, and faith. As we come to the end of this journey, it's important to remember that trusting in the divine plan is not a one-time decision, but a continuous practice. It's a process of surrender, patience, and growth, where we release control over what we cannot change and trust that everything is unfolding as it should. By focusing on what we can control, letting go of worry, embracing patience, and allowing ourselves to transform, we find peace, resilience, and purpose in every moment of life. It's through this trust that we uncover our true selves and live with a deeper sense of fulfillment. Remember, you are never alone on this journey. The divine is always working behind the scenes, guiding and supporting you every step of the way. So no matter where you are in life, trust that the path before you is unfolding perfectly and know that your efforts are not in vain. Good luck on your journey. May you find peace, courage, and unwavering trust as you continue forward. Thank you for allowing me to share this message with you today. Keep walking in faith, and may you experience all the blessings that await you.